Rolling.
Okay, welcome everybody. I'm at my friend Dan's house. Thanks for having me, Dan. And today Dan had a request, and that was to learn Big Sky, which I have taught before, so I vaguely already knew it. And having just gone over it, we thought it'd be cool to share this. So, without further ado, I'm going to get straight into it. So you'll hear the first chord. That's a big E minor. Okay, so we're playing a couple of notes there out of the E minor scale. We're on the, you can see where we are there. Now I'm going to move through this fairly smoothly. Obviously you can stop and go back and have another look. So we're on the 4th string, F sharp. And the fingers I use are probably the fingers I recommend you trying to use. Okay, that's a B7 chord. And then strum another E minor. I like to strum them upwards, and I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Back to here. And then you'll hear the drums and the bass sort of make a whole lot of noise. Now you'll notice when I do that bit, if you really want that little detail, put your pinky down and lift your pinky as you hit the 3rd string. And you get that nice little, we'll call it a ghost note there. Okay, and that's our whole intro. Alright, so I'll play that again. Alright, now you'll have to bear with me, it has been a while since I did learn this song, and it might be a little rough, but I'll talk you through as I go. So the next part, okay, so we're starting on a C here, that's the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Try to get that pick alternating. It doesn't matter if you're not exactly the way I'm playing it, but you really want to get that rhythm, obviously. So, alright, so we're walking up those same couple of notes we were using before. So that's the 2nd fret on the 5th. Straight across to the E there. F sharp, G. Pull off the 3rd to the 1st, and then pick that open D string. And then we do, okay, that little riff is going to appear quite a bit. I think, so that's the same as the intro if you want to just repeat that same lick idea. But I think in this song he slides up, he goes, so you can slide your pinky to the 7th, come back to the 4 there. Then you'll hear that same lick. Then we go to the F sharp, slide up to the 5th, hit the 3rd fret, my apologies, on the 3rd string. Then just bring the 2nd finger in here. And then we slide up to the 7th fret, and we bar across there on the 1st and the 2nd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. So bend at the 9, hit this, hit that twice more, and slide up to the 12th fret. So that verse. Okay, so that takes us through the main part of the verse. The next part here, big E minor chord. So we're strumming that, we pick the 6th string, strum right across, strum again, then put our pinky down on the 2nd fret, hit about 3 strings, the 3 strings there, the 3rd, 2nd and 1st string. Okay. And then we do this E, it's like an E major, but we move it up a fret. Basically, it's like an F sus type chord. We don't hit that 6th string at all though, we just... that repeats. Okay, sorry, so what happens here, we sort of do a similar thing, but we do 3 strums now. 1, 2, 3, add the pinky, go up a fret with just the pinky, up to the 5th, back to the 2nd with the 1st. Now, it's probably one of those things where every time he plays it, he might not play that exactly the same because he's sort of swinging along. And whether you want to accentuate that melody on its own a little bit, or hit 2 strings, or 3 strings, or mix it up like I just did. You might hit 2, then 3. It's not perfect, and that's not the Rev's style. He's kind of a rough and ready player, which is part of the reason we love him. Okay. Now, what happens next after that? Okay, so now, trying to remember what happens. Yeah, right, so we've got this G chord. So, really simple here, put the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. And when you do that, you'll probably block the 5th string. We want that, that's a good thing. Okay. So it's a little bit like a power chord, think AC/DC. Then we hit the open 2nd string. Then the 2nd finger goes down on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And then we lift it up and play the open, so we get this. Oh, sorry. Then we play an F-type chord with the thumb over here. Alright, so you might have played an F like that before, but we do, again, a little melody with the fingers. We go. So you can literally play that as 2 little separate lines. Like, I like to give it a little strum. Okay, so we're holding the 3rd fret on the 4th string and the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Okay, then we've got a B flat. So that's a B flat major chord. So there's 2 ways you can play that. If you have trouble with the strength of barring that 3rd finger, you can use your 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Okay, or you can bar it across like that, like I do, or some people use their pinky and push with their 3rd. You've got 3 options there. But if you're not strong enough, just stick at it, even if it sounds rusty when you're playing through it. The strength will come pretty quickly, because it's very unnatural, so your hand will have to adapt fast. So I strum that pick, strum, down, up, down, hit it again, slide up 2 frets, strum down, back on the 3rd, and then that again, so on the 5 again, on the 5th fret again. Okay, now we're up to this little B7, so that's a B flat sliding up to a C type chord and back. So the chords through that section are based around G. That's right, sorry. B flat. Yeah, so just to reiterate, that was G, F, B flat, C, B flat, and now we've got 2 notes out of a B major chord, so a B and a D sharp technically makes a B7. But what we're going to do, we're going to play those 2 notes, slide them up, slide them back, slide them up, go up to 2 notes from B flat here, or a couple of notes. We can play it as a full chord, like an F chord, but at the 7th fret. So 9, 8, 7, 7. I don't really think he's hitting that 4th string. I'm not really hearing it, so you could really just get away with that top bit. Then D shape here at with the 3rd finger on the 12th fret. Okay, and that takes us through the entire verse before it repeats again. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit rusty on those other bits there. I had to think of the song, but hopefully you're keeping up and following. If you don't know the song or you're not familiar with the parts, of course you're going to have a hard time. So if you're struggling at this point, make sure you've listened to the song quite a bit, and it'll really help with the way you're phrasing those sections. Anyway, the next verse, verse 2, we're now doing the same thing we did at the start, but an octave up. So Yeah, okay, so da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so that's on the 3rd string, 5th fret. Again, try and get that alternate picking. Da-da-da-da. So that's on the 4 now on the 3rd string. We're on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, that's an E. F sharp, G. F sharp, pull off to the E. And play the D there on the 3rd string, or the 7th fret of the 3rd string. We do this riff again. Then 7, 8, slide up to 10, back to 7. Exactly the same as from the 1st verse. So it's the same thing. Take note of what you did in the 1st verse, and remember that the phrasing is exactly the same pretty much. You'll notice that when we play that first riff, we've moved across in a slightly angular fashion. When we play it back here, you can see that that note lines up. When we do it here, we have to shift up. That's because your B string is only a third, what we call a third, or it's only a couple of tones up, whereas the gap from your 5th string to your 4th string is a little bigger. So when we tune, you'll notice, but when we do our 3rd string, it's a little out of tune there. When we do that, you'll see that we don't have to go up as high fret-wise, and that affects everything. So whenever you repeat a pattern, look out for that. The 2nd string, everything's slightly different. Okay, now what happens after that? Actually can't remember now. Oh, of course, hang on. We're gonna have to edit that. Okay, anyway, no, we might not have to. Busted, alright, so after this, we do what we did before, where we went. Okay, alright, there we go. So, that whole verse. Now it's up to you what fingers you use there. You might go 3, 4, and then 1st finger's there. So we're on 8, and we're on the 6, or you might use your 3rd finger and the 6. And then just bring that 2nd finger in. 1st finger just stays on the 6 there. And then we do the same lick from before. Okay, so that now takes us to before we went to this bit in the 1st verse. 2nd time around, again we do a very similar thing, but we're an octave up. So I'm barring 12, 12, 12. I hit the 6th string, and then it was up here. It was 5, 5, 5. So sorry, I call them 5 because I think of that as 0. Because everything repeats again from there, but that's actually 17. So we're going 17, 17, 17. It was so much easier to say 5, 5, 5. Anyway. Okay, so at this point we're going. Okay, and then we can do that same lick from earlier on. But I might actually have to check if that's what happened there. I'll have to very, very quickly check. Bear with me 1 second. It is. Okay. Again, you'll need to be a little bit more accurate at that point, because when you can hit those open strings, it actually sounds pretty good. So it's a replica of what we did back here, but it's up here. So 14, 15, 17, 14. And it's okay to hit the 2nd string there, even probably the 3rd. This bit here, where this is a little trickier, so we're bending from the 14th fret. This is over the G chord from earlier. Now we're doing this lick instead, at the same point of the verse, the 2nd time around. We're going. So we're bending the 14. I like to sort of chicken pick this, hybrid pick it. You can use the pick for all of it, or you can use your fingers. It's up to you. But what we're doing is we're pushing the 14, we're bending the 14, and we're playing the 15 and the 15 on the second and the first string. Now again, this is not one of those things you have to do perfect. I mean, if you're, it's kind of what he's doing. You know, it's not like a super accurate thing, but what he's done in the recording here, down, pick these, pick this again, pick these. So it's sort of, yeah, that's the best way for me to explain it, I think, is just to play it slow. Similar thing, or same thing here, back 2 frets, so the same lick, back 2 frets. Okay. Now I always use 2 fingers to bend. It gives you a lot more strength and a lot more control. And obviously, if we want to bend the 14, you need to have the 3rd finger on that fret. Your supporting finger should sit just in the fret behind, as close as possible. And you can use your 1st finger to help, but it doesn't really help that much. I just habitually put that down. And then from there, I slide my thumb up on the 6th, to the 6th fret on the 6th string. So I go, and I play, this is the top end of a B flat major chord with my 2nd finger and barring my 1st. 7th fret, 6th fret, 6th fret. Okay, and I think he slides around it a little bit like, okay, again, it's pretty crazy, it's a little while. And then we're back to this. Okay, and that takes us up to the and maybe I probably need to go over that a little more to make sure I know what I'm teaching you, you know. It's one thing to play it, it's another thing to teach it, so I think I struggled enough as it is with the rest of it, but hopefully you can put that together, and we'll do a solo. Maybe we'll do a solo next time when Dan wants to learn the solo.
Yes.
I'll teach the rest of you.
Okay.
So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. Again, I know I didn't really play the whole thing first. The idea is you know, probably have come here because you know the song and you want to learn it. So hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Have a good weekend, because it's Friday now. It could be any day when you're watching it.